Hello everyone. In this video, we will learn about climatic classification. Climate is an aggregate of weather conditions for larger space and longer time. Now, there is a difference between climate and weather. Weather is for short duration and for smaller space, whereas climate is the aggregate of those weather conditions for a larger space and for longer duration of time. Now, coming on to the classification of climates, we can have three types of climatic classification. One is genetic, then it is empirical and applied. The genetic classification is based on the origin, let's say, on one element of weather, such as be it temperature or precipitation is concerned, and then the world is divided into various types based on temperature or precipitation. The empirical classification is based on observation. In this, absolute values of temperature and precipitation may be used, which was done by Köppen. Then there is an applied, in which relativity of temperature and precipitation is used for classification. Now let us come to Köppen's classification of climates. It is an empirical type of classification. Köppen observed close relationship between climate and distribution of vegetation. He used values of temperature and precipitation for classification of climates. He used the data of mean annual and mean monthly temperature and precipitation. He used mean annual temperature and mean annual precipitation data to distribute world into different climatic zones. He made 5 major climatic groups, in which 4 of them were based on temperature data and 1 was based on precipitation data. These are the 5 major climatic groups: A, B, C, D, E. H is the climatic classification which is based upon elevation. Now coming on to A, there are 3 levels of divisions. In the first level of divisions, the capital letters are used as symbol to denote various climatic conditions. For A, it is the tropical climate, where the average temperature of the coldest month is greater than 18 degrees Celsius. This means in the tropical climates, the temperature always remains even during the coldest month above 18 degrees Celsius. Then B, it is a dry type of climate. Here, precipitation is much less than the potential evapotranspiration. It simply means that the evaporation is much more than the precipitation gain. C represents warm temperate climate. Here, average temperature of coldest month remains below 18 degrees Celsius, but it is above -3 degrees Celsius. Then comes D, which is cold snow forest type of climate. Here, the average coldest month temperature remains below -3 degrees Celsius. Then coming on to E, it is the cold climate. Here the average temperature of all months is below 10 degrees Celsius. Now for a better understanding of the climatic distribution, you can use this diagram. See, for 0 degree to 10 degrees, say this is north, the same will follow in the southern hemisphere as well. So for 0 to 10 degrees north or south, it is equatorial type of climate. From 10 degrees to 30 degrees, it is tropical type of climate. Then 30 to 45 degrees, we say it is subtropical. Now subtropical means the prefix sub represents it is a type of tropical type of climate. It is not exactly tropical, but something like tropical. Then 45 degrees to 60 degrees, we will have temperate type of climate. Above 60 to 90 is polar region. Now 90 to 80 degrees, we will have polar type of climate. 80 to 70 degrees, we will have subpolar. Subpolar will be something like polar, but not exactly polar. 70 degree to 60 degrees would be warm subpolar type of climate. This is a rough idea. You can use this diagram to create a mental map of world distribution of climatic zones. This was the first level of classification, A, B, C, D, E, H. Now the second level of classification In this these 5 major are subdivided. Like for B type of climate, that is the dry climate, is subdivided into W and S. These are capital letters. W represent desert type of climate, and S will represent semi-arid type of climate. For E, it is subdivided into T and F. T represents tundra type of climate, and F will represent frosted. For A, C, and D type of climates, we have further division into F, M, S, W. These are written in small case. F represents that this type of climate will have no dry season. Precipitation is well distributed throughout the year. Small m will represent monsoon type of climate. Here 70% of annual rain is received in 3 to 4 months, and rest of the year is mostly dry. S represents dry summer, therefore precipitation will be in winters. W represents dry winters, therefore precipitation will happen in summers. Now coming on the third level of division, that is further subdivision is of H and K. These are small case letters. H represents hot desert type of climate where average temperature remains above 18 degrees Celsius throughout the year, and K represents cold desert type of climate where temperature would remain less than 18 degrees Celsius, and these are used only with B type of climate. So we know that B is a dry type of climate, which is further divided into W and S. W is desert type of climate and S is semi-arid, and these both can be further subdivided into H and K. Like BS can be further divided into H and K, that is BSH and BSK. Similarly, BW can be divided into H and K. BW, K would mean cold desert and BWH would mean hot desert. We will have a look. For A, we have for A, which is the tropical type of climate, we have 3 types of subclimates. This is AF, AM and AW. Within B, there are 4 subdivisions. Within C, there are 3 subdivisions. Within D, we have 2 types of subclimates, and E, there are further 2 types of climates. AF is tropical wet. AM is the tropical monsoonal climate. AW would be tropical wet and dry climate. Now with B, BSH would be subtropical steppe type of climate. Then BWH would be subtropical desert. Then BSK would be mid-latitude steppe climate, and then BWK would be mid-latitude desert. Coming on to the C, CFA represents the humid subtropical. CS would represent Mediterranean type of climate, and CFB would represent marine west type climate. Coming on to D, that is the cold snow forest climates. It has DF, which is the continental climate, humid continental, and DW would be subarctic, ET would be tundra, and F would be forested, and H is highland. Now this diagram will help you in representing all these different types of climates given by Köppen on a world map. This diagram would be very helpful in making a mental map of distribution of different climatic types throughout the world. How to draw this? You have to draw a 0 degree equator, then 10 degree latitude, then a 30 degree latitude, then a 40 latitude, then a 60 degree latitude, then a 70, 80 degrees, and finally the 90 degree latitude pole. This is the base diagram. Now we have to fill in different types of climatic zones in it. Now starting from the equator, we will go towards the pole. We know that equator will have obviously 0 to 30 degrees is usually tropical type of climate. So here would be AF type of climate. Here would be monsoonal. Here would come AW, which is tropical wet and dry, it is also called savanna type of climate. Then here would get BWH. Then comes the B type of climate, it will be here and here. BWH represent, it is the subtropical desert. BWK is mid latitude desert. These are cold desert, these are hot desert. Then comes the steppe type of climate. These are subtropical steppe. On the lower latitude, this will be BSH, and towards the higher latitude it will be BSK. Now coming on to C type of climate. This is Mediterranean type of climate. This would be west coast type of climate, marine west coast type of climate. This is China type of climate or east coast type of climate. Coming on to D. Now for D we have DW, which is subarctic. DF would be humid continental type of climate, and E is ET, tundra and frosted. So this is how you have to fill that base. The same would be copied for the southern hemisphere. Now this diagram you can learn by heart, and this will help you in your basic understanding of how different climate zones are found throughout the world. Now let us look into the details of every type of climate. Let us begin with the tropical type of climate, which is represented by capital symbol A. It lies between Tropic of Capricorn to Tropic of Cancer. This is tropical region. Here sun is overhead throughout the year. Here you find ITCZ, due to which it is hot and humid type of climate. ITCZ is intertropical convergence zone, where northern trade winds and southerly trade winds converge. Annual range of temperature is very low here because you have almost a daily precipitation and sun is overhead, so there is minimal change in the season. If there is minimal change in season, there will be low annual range of temperature. Annual rainfall is very high. Now let us look into AF, which is equatorial type of climate, you can say, or tropical wet climate. It is found 10 degrees north to 10 degrees south of the equator. Rainfall, you have daily rainfall, not only monthly. Rainfall is mainly in the form of thunder showers in the afternoon or 4 p.m. showers also. A question has been asked by UPSC about this. This is very important from UPSC prelims perspective. From world map, you can see that the Amazon basin in Central Africa and the Southeast Asian Peninsula are the region where tropical or equatorial type of climate is found. Now coming on to AM, which is the monsoonal type of climate. From monsoon, you very well know that it is associated with India. It is found in India, northeastern South America and northeastern Australia. It is found in 10 degrees to 30 degrees north and south on the eastern coast of the continents. 70% of the precipitation is received in 3 to 4 months of the summers, and winters is usually dry. Usually deciduous type of vegetation is found in tropical monsoonal type of climate. Now coming on to AW. AW is also called as the savanna type of climate. It is located towards the west of the monsoonal climate, so it becomes quite interior. So here the variability of rainfall and variability of temperature, both annual and daily, would increase compared to the monsoonal type of climate. It is north and south of the AF climate, as you can see from this diagram. To the west of AW, it is BWH, it is the hot desert, and to the east you have CW type of climate. North and south of Amazon basin in Brazil, Bolivia and Paraguay in the South American continent, you have AW type of climate. Precipitation is variable and less than the AF and AM type of climate. Temperature is high. Diurnal range of temperature is greatest in the dry season. Here the dry season is more than the wet season, since dry season is longer and precipitation is also low and variable, so it is not adequate for the growth of luscious vegetation like the equatorial forest. So it is mainly suitable for the growth of grasses It is known for grasses with few trees between the grasses. Examples of this type of climate is the African savanna, Brazilian campos. The African savanna is found in a horseshoe shaped type, and in between you have AF type of climate. Llanos, these are the grasslands. Llanos of Venezuela, Campos of Brazil, and Nullarbor Plains of Australia. This is the Australian coastline, and you can see that the Nullarbor Plains are found here. Now, moving on to B type, that is the dry type of climate. Here we know that precipitation is very less than the evaporational loss, so the moisture is not adequate for the growth of plants. Only grasses and short trees grow here. It is found 15 degrees to 60 degrees north and south. In lower latitudes, subtropical high pressure is found, due to which there would be subsidence of air and no temperature inversion. So there would be no precipitation. Hence, there are deserts. On the west coast, there is the influence of cold currents, which further increases the aridity, such as seen in the Atacama Desert in Peru due to Peruvian cold current. Now, in mid latitudes, that is 30 to 60 degrees north and south, this type of climate is found towards the interior of the continent, so there is no influence of the maritime winds or the oceanic currents. It is often surrounded by mountains. Here we would have BWK, that is the cold deserts such as the Kalahari deserts and Patagonia deserts. For the steppes, that is a semi-arid type of climate we would have. In the lower latitudes, we would have warmer temperature, so we would have BSH, and towards the higher latitudes, we would have BSK type of climate. Now let us delve in detail. BSW is the subtropical steppe, and BWH would be subtropical desert. It is a transition zone between humid type of climate to dry type of climate. Precipitation in BSH is more than the BWH, which is the desert type of climate, obviously. So in BSH we would have grasslands. Precipitation is highly variable, so it can cause even famines in desert type of climate. Rain is usually in short intense showers in desert, ineffective in building soil moisture. Fog in coastal deserts due to cold current. Summer temperature is very high, especially in subtropical deserts such as Sahara Desert. Annual and diurnal range of temperatures would be high. You also already know that in desert, during daytime it is high temperature and nights are cold, so obviously diurnal range of temperature is high. Now coming to BS, which is the semi-arid type of climate. It is also of two types, BSH and BSK. It is basically divided. BS is further subdivided based on temperature. H depends hot and K is cold. BSH is found in the lower latitudes, therefore it is much warmer than the BSK type of climate. Now, based on their temperature difference, you would have US prairies, whereas the colder version of it would be Canadian prairies, Pampas of Argentina, then Pustas in Europe, steppes, downs of Australia, Wales of South Africa. Coming on to C type of climate, it is warm, temperate, mid-latitude climate. It is found 30 to 50 degrees north and south on the east and west margins of the continents. It has warm summers and mild winters. C type of climate is further divided into CWA, which is humid subtropical climate. It has dry winters. CS, which is the Mediterranean climate, it has dry summers and wet winters. CFA is no dry season and mild winters. CFB is marine west coast climate. CWA, which is this humid subtropical type of climate, it is found polewards from Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. North Indian plains and South China interior plains are the places where such type of climate is found. It is somewhat similar to the AW, that is savanna type of climate, except temperature in winters is warm compared to the AW. Now CS is a Mediterranean type of climate. It is found, its name comes because this type of climate is found basically around the Mediterranean Sea. It is very important from the perspective of UPSC. UPSC has asked several times questions from this topic. It is found on the west coast of the continent from 30 degrees to 45 degrees north and south, central California, central Chile, southeastern and southwestern Australia. From this you can see that in the northern hemisphere from 30 degrees north to 45 degrees north on the western coast you have Mediterranean type of climate, and in the southern hemisphere from 30 degrees south to 45 degrees south on the western coast of the continent you have Mediterranean type of climate. You have influence of subtropical high and westerly winds. Typical feature is that it is dry in summers and wet in winters. This is mainly due to the influence of westerly winds. Now in summers, due to the northward shift of the sun, the pressure zones also shift northwards. Therefore, westerly winds also shift northwards. Therefore, the region between 30 to 45 degrees don't receive any maritime winds. So there is no rainfall in the summers. Whereas in winters, what happens is due to the southern shift of the sun, air pressures also shift southwards. Thus, westerlies start blowing a little southwards and they become onshore between 30 to 45 degrees latitude. And these maritime winds cause precipitation in winters in the Mediterranean type of climate. Here average temperature is 25 degrees Celsius in summers, and in winters it is less than 10 degrees Celsius. Precipitation is about 35 to 90 centimeter. Now coming on to CFA, which is East Coast. This type of climate is found in the eastern coast in subtropical latitudes. You can see from the diagram, usually till 30 degree we have tropical, and then from 30 to 45 we have subtropical region. So in this eastern coast of 30 to 45 degrees we would have CFA type of climate both in the southern and northern hemisphere. Here the air masses causes instability which leads to precipitation throughout the year. It is found in the eastern coast United States of America, southern and eastern China, southern Japan, northeastern Argentina, coastal South Africa, eastern coast of Australia. Precipitation is between 75 to 100 centimeters. Thunderstorms in summers and frontal precipitation in winters. Therefore, it has precipitation throughout the year. Average temperature is 27 degrees in summers and 5 to 12 degrees in winters. Daily range of temperature is low because again it has rainfall throughout the year. So it will have also it is located on the eastern coast. So maritime will have a moderation effect and the daily range of temperature would be low. Coming on to CFB, which is marine west coast type of climate. It is found on the west coast. Polewards from the Mediterranean type of climate. CS, it is found on the west coast of the, and poleward from it you will find CFB type of climate, marine west coast type of climate. Marine is it will be located on the coastal area, and west coast represents the west coast of the continent. It is found in the northwestern Europe, west coast of North America, northern California, southern Chile, southeast Australia and New Zealand. Now a peculiar aspect of this type of climate is that it has marine influence due to its coastal location. Temperature is moderated in winters, warmer for its latitude. The warm currents have a warming effect on this type of climate. Temperature is 15 to 20 degrees Celsius, and in winters it is 4 to 10 degrees Celsius. Daily and annual range of temperature is small. Precipitation is throughout the year. However, there is variation in precipitation. It can be from 50 to 250 centimeter. Now coming on to D type of climate, which is cold snow forest type of climate, in which we have DF and DW type of climate. In DF, it is cold climate with humid winters. Polewards of marine west coast climate and mid-latitude steppes. Here you have marine west coast and steppes, mid-latitude steppes. From poleward to it, you have DF type of climate. Winters, it is cold and snowy. Small frost-free season. Annual range of temperature is very large. Weather changes are abrupt, but they are of short duration. Here you mainly receives frontal precipitation. DW type of climate. Now it is cold but dry winters. It is mainly found in the northeastern Asia. Winters may you have anticyclonic condition, and it weakens in the summers, which sets a monsoon-like reversal of wind. Here you have precipitation, annual precipitation in the range of 15 centimeter in, and mostly it is received in summers. E type of climate, which is the polar type of climate, it is found beyond 70 degrees. Here it is ET or EF. ET is tundra type of climate. Tundra name comes from the tundra vegetation, in which we have mosses, lichens, and flowering plants. It is the permafrost region where the subsoil is permanently frozen. It has small growing season, and due to winter logging, we have low growing plants only. Coming on to EF, which is frosted type of climate or the polar ice caps. It is found in the interiors of the Greenland and Antarctic. In summer, the temperature remains below freezing point. Precipitation is very little. It is mainly snow and ice there, and which accumulates, which increases pressure and leads to deformation of ice. Thus, icebergs float in Arctic and Antarctica.